be 3, 4.
I'll make a motion that council approves partnering with the High Prairie Native Friendship Center on a 2 to 3 day project through the Junior Forest Ranger program.
Okay, Mr. Martinson, have you got a project, or do you think that, I know he skipped out?
You did. When I looked at this and we talked about it, what my intention was to possibly put these kids with some of our summer students. And I know for a fact I have got possibly 4 summer students who requesting to come back to work for us. So they do have some experience with them, and if not, then we'll send them on a tree trimming program with full-time employees. But we'll find work for them for the projects that they're asking for anyways.
Good.
For 2 to 3 day projects, so.
Sounds good. Councillor Tanaka?
When I was reading this, I was looking for a little bit more information on what this all entailed. Like, is it just during the summer? Is it for the whole summer, or is it just 1 2 to 3 day project?
It's just a 2 to 3 day project.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Just for the summer.
Yeah, in the summer, yeah.
So are they, is the High Prairie Friendship Center running a Junior Forest Ranger program, or?
They are.
Oh, they are, okay. And then this is part of what they do in the summer?
Yes,
for
it
a
is.
summer?
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. We have a motion, all in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, the next one, Communities in Bloom. Could we get a motion? Councillor Tanaka?
The council received the information on applying to host the Communities in Bloom Awards on September 17th, 2016 for information.
Any comments, any questions, discussion? Councillor Long?
Again, this is one of these types of opportunities for us to really showcase our town. And I'm not sure if we just receive it for information. The cost for doing this is minimal. I think it's something that we should be looking at doing, and it's a great way to get our town excited and be a part of the Communities in Bloom. I don't know why we wouldn't want to do it, is all I'm wondering. Yes, there'll be money coming. They'll come to us asking for money then, but.
Councillor Panasic?
Yeah, my question is coming right from the Community in Blooms, but do we have an organization in town that would take this on and work on it as a project versus, you know, the town administration doing it? So if there was, you know, a group in town that was interested in doing it, then I would be much more in favor of it. But for the town administration to do it, I don't see that as something that they should be doing.
Councillor Tanaka?
I agree with Councillor Panasic.
I'm not sure how much the membership costs for Communities in Bloom, because I know that you would have to be a member, and there is more to it than just planting the flowers or hosting it, because you have to enter one of the categories in a non-competitive category of the 2016 Communities in Bloom program. I would like to support you, Councillor Long, but perhaps we could forward the information to Beautification and see if they're interested in it. Okay, so it's received for information, and I'll just, as a side, ask the administration to forward it to Beautification. So, okay, all in favor? Carried. Wellness Alberta, could we get a motion on that? Councillor Danaka?
The council received the request from Wellness Alberta to support the creation of the Wellness Foundation for Information.
Councillor Danaka, any reasoning why?
I guess a couple things. One is they're looking, from what I'm reading here, a possible wellness levy on the taxes, which I don't know how much that would be. And is it specific to us, or is it all of Alberta?
It is Alberta.
It is all of Alberta, okay. So I'm not sure how this Wellness Alberta would work for us.
Okay. Councillor Long, any comments?
Again, this is a great opportunity for the provincial government to step up and seriously look at wellness in the province and preventative maintenance, for lack of a better word, and getting the education out there for the citizens of Alberta. And it's not our responsibility in that regard. We can't afford it. We just can't.
Councillor Panasic, comment?
Yeah, this is one where, like, I can see some of the benefits, but I don't feel I have all of the information to make a good decision on this, just because it is such a big project involving huge provincial dollars when we're talking, millions of dollars. Is this the best use? If we're looking at, provincially, the government doing a revamp of the healthcare system, how does this fit into that? I like the idea. I like the concept of preventative maintenance, but I know our healthcare system needs to be revamped from the ground up and finding ways to make it more efficient. This I see as one way of doing it, but I'm not sure if this is the right organization or not. I just don't have enough information to really support it. And when they're talking about all of the extra levies and, literally millions of dollars into that they have to commit to start such a group, I don't know if that's the best use of provincial money. So that's why I wouldn't support it given the information that I have.
I tend to echo the comments around the table. I think that the Alberta health system already has more than its share of funding, and that they should learn how to apportion it better than what they are. Acute care seems to be taking most of their money, and their bureaucracy is whatever's left. And so prevention and maintenance, or whatever, prevention and health promotion doesn't seem to be getting as much as what it should get. So I think I would wait for the health review and go from there at this point. So we've all commented. I think we all kind of know where we're at. So I'll call the question. All in favor of receiving for information? It's carried. Next item is the staff and CO written report. Mr. Martinson, could I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to receive it for information.
Any highlights?
I didn't do a written report because it was Christmas time and all the government offices were closed down and very little was going on. But I did write 3 items here. That I did attend the intermunicipal meeting on Monday with Councillor Panasic and Mayor Cox. I had sent a letter to Brian Mason earlier, and that's in the to-do list, requesting a time and date for a meeting to discuss the streetlights. And I just wanted to let the council know, as of this date, I had no response back from his office. So, we also advertised for a member at large for the airport committees, and Craig Mack, who's our representative on the airport committee, had resigned, and we haven't had any applications yet. So what we discussed at the intermunicipal is if somebody was interested from the county to apply as our representative, I think council should accept that, because I don't believe in the way that the Reeve and the Deputy Reeve talked, it sounded like it was only for High Prairie residents only, the application, but we have had representations from the county also representing the town, so. If we do get an application from the county or whatever, we're still short a member.
Yeah. I believe actually that anybody who's interested is a good applicant.
Yeah.
Whether they live in the county or they live in High Prairie, they have the interests of the airport at heart.
If they show an interest to join, then it'll be for the best of the airport.
Okay.
Just, can I, just
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that airport one specifically, is there, can we re-advertise, maybe not even in the paper, but at least on social media in some way of getting it out there, so that we're, if there is anybody, and make it clear that they don't have to be from the town. I think there is an assumption that they have to be, and I know I would prefer that they came from the town, but if we are getting nobody, re-advertising it and letting people know, and spreading the word around just with us, if we know of anybody that might be interested, talking to them to fill that spot.
Okay,
Does council have any questions on the to-do list?
action list, do you have any questions, Councillor Danaka?
I have a couple. The watershed meeting's set for Monday, the 29th. Is that a day meeting or an evening meeting?
6:30 to 9:30.
Okay.
And I will be bringing that back to a meeting to have council make a motion to have a special meeting.
So the watershed meeting on February 29th is at 6:30.
So that'll be coming to a future,
Oh, okay.
probably the next council meeting.
Okay, and my second question is, page 94, motion 622/15 regarding the letter to Sarah Hoffman in the land for this, from the hospital, et cetera. Why is, it says on hold?
The partners had to approve the letter, and we didn't get the approval, just carte blanche. They wanted to have another
Oh,
meeting
okay.
and discuss it a little bit further. And we had the other meeting yesterday afternoon. And I think they're going to, 2 weeks from now, we're having one more. They're bringing a draft letter that Northern Lakes College is going to present, requesting the land. And they're going to bring back drafts of motions that the 5 partners will bring to each of their boards and councils and pass to show support for the project. So I believe this project will move forward through this year, because Northern Lakes College has 2 opportunities possibly for a college, and they will go with either one. They prefer the hospital site, but if the other one comes up, they'll take that too. But that's why they want to move this forward as quickly as possible. Okay, Councillor Long, any questions on it?
Nope.
Nothing on that? Councillor Banasek? Okay, I had a few questions. This Amoresco completed the inspection of 11 town buildings. Are we, is there any more action to be taken on this motion now, or is that one complete?
Still waiting for all the council to review the 12 owned buildings yet. I believe you're the only one that has completed them all, Mayor Cox.
If they don't go ahead to review, what are we waiting for, other than for information purposes?
None.
Are we using
I
the?
believe Mr. Walker's and Nancy have compiled a list now of the years, the summary.
We we've compiled a list of everything that was requested by council to be included in all capital expenditures for 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019.
So,
And it will be coming back to council on the next meeting when Public Works will have a list of items.
so they don't really have to go through the reports now, they can move right to the summary.
Yeah.
So the reports are there for information, if you wanna see pictures of the buildings, if you wanna see a little bit more detail, but if, you don't have time or it just doesn't get done, we're moving towards then the capital budget, and these are the recommendations from the reports.
And we can even present that at the workshop on, here's one on Tuesday.
Okay,
It includes vehicle purchases, structures for, public works buildings and, roads and underground.
okay. So that one then is completed.
Okay.
Okay.
That was, administration's having a budget meeting on Thursday. So I believe I talked to you,
Briefly, you said something about you wanna have a budget meeting,
I wanna have a budget workshop
budget workshop.
the following week. Huh?
Week from today.
A week from today, the following Tuesday.
And what date is that?
19th.
Yeah, I believe it was Tuesday the 19th is what was suggested, but it's the availability of council, yeah,
Yep. And that's at a day or an evening?
in evening.
Evening meeting?
What date?
Tuesday the 19th?
January?
Yeah. 7 o'clock?
Are we okay?
Friday?
Nope.
It's a Tuesday,
No.
Tuesday.
No, February. 19th, there it is.
Counselor Panasic? Okay, 7 PM. Budget workshop. Council chambers? Do you need a motion for a special meeting? Nope, okay. So that will be a special meeting. And we will be going over the capital budget, the operations budget again? Okay. Will we have time for Mackenzie?
I don't know if we will. Now, if we're doing looking at the full capital thing for the first time especially, it might be,
Too pushed, don't worry about it.
I don't think we wanna rush the meeting where
Yep,
we can bring them in on the 26th. I think that's when he had mentioned he would be best suited to come to the council.
okay.
I think he's got sort of precedent on his schedule.
So we'll allocate more time for him then. In fact, we'll make it an agenda item.
Yeah, we'll give him his presentation.
Yeah.
If you talk to him tomorrow or whatever, email him, just give him a, tell him what we
I'll
have.
talk to him personally. And it was,
Okay, and refresh me again on this very first one, 284/15. And this is, we cut off all the utilities and we're waiting to demolish the building. What are we waiting for there?
Just some time, we're gonna do it.
Oh,
very
so you only need time, okay.
The permits are all done, utilities are all system, and this is a little house right across the street.
For Public Works.
We just started on this.
All right, that's good.
We're gonna do that on our own resources,
Mhm.
so.
And we haven't heard any more about the vent stack? The vent stack is working over at the lift station?
We're still experiencing some odor, but not as much, and we're still working on it. We're in contact with Mrs. Soprano every week.
Okay.
It's only on certain days and when the wind
Wind's
is
blowing
just
a certain
right.
way.
And it's not near as bad as it was, but we're still working on it. And we got some deficiencies that warranty work that has to be done in the lift station, which could be contributing to that as well.
Oh, okay.
We haven't forgotten about it and we're still monitoring.
That's why it's still on here then.
Yeah.
So, that's good. And we never heard back from accredited supportive living on their tax.
Not a word.
Okay,
Maybe they're just gonna pay them, I
I
don't know.
guess so. How do you want some of these taken off if there's been no activity? Do you want a motion to say
I would just leave them on.
Just leave them on for a while? I mean, we'll be getting into, another 6 months, it'll be a year.
Yeah. Well, I'd say after a year.
Okay, all right, because they are, I mean, it's only 3 pages, so it's not like it's 10.
And it does, once they're completed.
Yeah.
But then you add on from the
Last one.
this meeting, so.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, just, I think you could, like on those, I know I'm not going to be going through all the detailed reports, and I don't know if anybody else is, so you can close that
Yeah,
one off.
yeah.
And I just was noticing here, on the motion to have voting stations held at, Golden Age and stuff, it's, send notice to Heart River Housing if election is required. I'm not sure what that means, if election.
That was on before. Like,
Oh.
If election was required, like if you only had 2 incumbents put their name in. so.
Okay.
But I did send Lindsay a notice of the dates and the time.
And we have more than 2, so there's,
So
okay.
there will be an election.
Okay, so that's,
So that's completed now.
yeah, okay, that's what I was just.
Yeah. So,
Yep, Councillor Long?
So we're having, on January 26th, the capital budget meeting. We're gonna be discussing capital and.
No. January 26th is our regular council meeting, and Mackenzie Services is gonna come for half an hour.
the 19th is a budget workshop.
But we also have listed here January 26th meeting, on page 95, Councilor Panasic, direct administration invite rec board manager to upcoming meeting in January to make presentation to council regarding their request for more funds. And that's gonna take a bit of time.
I
That's
don't know how
good.
much time that would take,
Pretty easy for me, cause I'll just say no, but, did you hear that? So anyways, but I'm sure that they'll want to be given an opportunity to speak. And we've got a motion in place to have them invited for the 26th.
And the RCMP are also scheduled to be a delegation that night too, so.
Do I bring my pajamas? Cause it's gonna be a long one if we do that. So, how do we wanna do it? It'll be an hour and a half, just an hour anyways on our delegations.
which one would you move of the 3?
RCMP, for sure. He
RCMP?
can come, we
He
can
can come
invite him,
anytime.
we can invite him to the first one in February.
Could we start the council meeting earlier, like at 6:30? That, then, like, have Van go from 6:30 to 7, and then the
Oh,
rec
I
board.
see, yeah. And then,
Then the rec board could have a half an hour if we, warrant them the extra time. Cause I doubt if anybody's gonna wanna go past 11.
I don't know, I think we could fit it in. I mean, it's 10 after 9, we're almost done. So,
I'll keep it to a minimum. If there's something that can be bumped to the next meeting.
RCMP for 2 weeks is not.
Yeah.
what's quorum now?
3. You're saying 3, I think it's 4.
No, we only have,
That's the members count.
we only have 5 members right now.
So
So
quorum is
majority
3.
is 3, yeah.
Okay.
All right then, I actually think we could do it at 7. And we'll just do the 2, bump the RCMP to a different meeting. Okay?
Okay.
Just don't be sick.
Well, just that as well with the RCMP, that I'm sure that they're going to be wanting to talk about the cadets as well, and so I don't want to miss that opportunity. I don't want to leave the kids in a loop without RCMP.
The
Police
police
cadets.
cadets.
Yeah.
We have
Because,
police cadets.
yeah,
No, I did not know that. Oh, how many?
12-ish.
Yeah, about 12.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, but it's gonna go to February, so we'll discuss it then?
Okay.
Okay, all right. And so we have a motion to accept the manager's report as presented. All in favor? That's carried. Could I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. The council received the check listing for council December 1st to 15th, 2015 for information.
Perfect.
All in favor? That's carried. Any questions, of course, you have referred to the administration, Mr. Martins. FCS monthly report, with Councillor Tanaka.
The council received the November 2015 report from FCSS for information.
And all in favor? Carried. Recreation Board. Councillor Long.
Council received a letter from High Prairie District Regional Recreation Board declining the offer to rent space from the town for information.
All right. Any questions or discussion? Yep. Councillor Panasic? Try now.
It would be
That's
good
what-
if we can have them all lit up, or is it, we can't do that with this system?
We can, but he was worried about,
Feedback.
yeah, the feedback.
Feedback?
Do you want to try it?
Yeah, we should try it, because then we can leave the mics live if we would like.
Ready?
One other suggestion also is there is a mic there for the chair of the meeting, which is this corner here, and therefore during a discussion, the chair can turn everybody's up and then they click back in. So if somebody's left themselves on without knowing, then the
Chair can
chair can shut it
Yeah.
down and then you go back in one at a time.
But it's not a problem, I don't think I don't know if we're gonna get any echoing.
You're on now. You can
I'm-
try it.
Oh, okay.
Turn yours on, Donna.
All right, do you have a lot of echo, any different
Nope.
than before?
The way Jane or Richard explained it is once we have 8 going, there might be a little more
Oh, okay,
So we'll
with the smaller.
see how it works.
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll just kind of.
limiting it to 3 right now seems, yeah. Okay, anyways.
Leave them on at your own demise.
Yeah. It's all being recorded anyway, so yeah, we can't get away from it.
Now they're recording.
You could always get away with, that's not what I said. You misheard it.
And the rec board, if I understand, was they wanted to keep their own space and they still have an agreement in place with their current location. Is that the rationale for not coming here?
That's the gist of the rationale. The rent would be more expensive here, but not by very much. And they do have to pay out 9 months of rent if they were going to leave, because they just signed a contract a year and a half ago. So at this point, no, we're not going to have them here. So that's for information. Any other questions on it? All in favor? That's carried. Next item is CIP grant funding.
I'll make the motion that we receive the letter and financial statements from Diane Oliver, Secretary Treasurer of the High Prairie Railway Mural Project for information.
Okay, discussion? Questions?
Who's keeping the remaining $4,900? Where is that? That's not with the town, is it?
No,
No.
they
Okay,
actually
they
have
do.
their own bank account.
Okay.
Because they applied for a grant under beautification.
Oh.
And beautification said, we will let you use our society, we will do whatever you need to do, we'll sign the application, but you have to do all the bookkeeping, you have to do your own bank account, you have to do everything that is required. And they've done it all. They have kept their books well, they've reported well, they have sent the report to the community, CIP, what does that stand for?
Communities in
Capital-
bloom,
No,
or
capital
Community improvement program.
infrastructure program?
And community improvement program.
The CIP stands
Community
for what?
improvement program.
community improvement program.
So they have sent their report to there, and so we're satisfied with what they've done. So they're keeping the 4,900 for maintenance, and I would believe that's going to be for any repairs or anything that's necessary, and I don't know what else, how long it will last or whatever, but that's it, unless we want our 4,900 back.
For what purpose?
Exactly. Okay, so, motion on the books for information, all in favor? It's carried. Next one is Heart River Housing, letter to the minister. Is there a motion, Counselor? You don't have to push anymore, it's always on.
No. I make a motion that council receive the letter from Donna Buczynski, board chair of Heart River Housing, that was sent to Minister Sarah Hoffman regarding grant in lieu of taxes on government-owned units for information.
Okay, so this issue is, I don't know if it's still outstanding or not. Do you think the progress is good?
Absolutely not.
He's the guru on this stuff.
No, they haven't they're not doing anything, and, I mean, Heart River Housing wants to send another letter to try and say, well, you know, can we work with you? And, I think I've been driving a little bit of that and saying that, you know what, our town is very close to wanting a meeting with the minister to say, you know, we need to find out a solution. We can't handle this debt load. We need to do this before, like, fairly quickly. Otherwise, it's coming on to the upcoming tax base. And if they are not going to do anything, we're gonna need to, I guess, suggest or require that they, you know, sell the social housing and get them out of our community so that it's not on the tax base of our few citizens. So I think that's where we need to go, and this was an attempt to say, well, let's talk first to see if there's something, but I think we need to act on our own, and if I know Heart River Housing has no issues if we want to go on our own, because I've told them this is where we're heading. They don't mind us doing that in any way, shape, or form.
Counselor Long.
Now, currently, Heart River Housing is looking at divesting themselves of 23 homes here in town.
12 family units, single family
I
units.
thought there was 55.
No, there's 50,
55. There's
55,
55.
Yeah, but they're,
And they're looking at selling.
No, they are not looking at doing anything. They
according to their business plan says that in 2016, or I think it's 2016,
Yeah.
they wish to, what page are we on? Library.
I mean, this is a wish list so that they could come up with a one, they would like to
Something to
standardize
138.
these and put them into one.
Or 151, 138.
I know what you're saying in the business plan, I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah.
Right, but
But-
there is a statement.
But
There is, and that is a goal or a target, but reality is you need to get all of the money to make that happen. So it is something that they're pursuing also, and if we were to put the pressure on, it would help in that regard
Sells
also.
of 15 single housing
That's it.
units.
Yeah.
What page was it?
152.
152.
Boy, I'm so proud of you people. You all read that package very well. You all knew what we were talking about.
No, they absolutely are. I mean, that would be the ideal from their perspective. And
Well, when
that's
you
it.
say sell, that means they're selling, does it?
They cannot sell those without the government approving them, right? They're not owned by Heart River Housing. If they
Okay.
were owned by Heart River Housing, we could collect tax on them.
Right.
but they are not. They're owned by the government, and that's why we don't get the tax.
So are they requesting the government to let them sell the 15 single-family housing units?
They are hoping that they might, but there isn't any guarantee, and that's why they don't have an objection if we are pushing from our end also.
Okay.
They would like to see a slow removal of those housing units, if possible, and they'd like to see, in the ideal world, like one nice unit here for the social housing. It cuts a lot of their costs if they can get it to be a big enough project and all in one building, and it reduces their costs and makes them much more efficient if they can get there.
I agree with that, but isn't the literature on low-income housing, doesn't it say to build separate units and integrate it in the neighborhood in order to keep the neighborhood not a ghetto? So you build a 32-unit apartment block, and it turns into a disaster, because the literature all says you have to integrate them. And we see, well, even this is not really integrated, but it's better than a 32-room apartment.
I know from going to some of the conferences with them and seeing what's being done in other areas, and most of these conferences are in the cities, so I will say this is very urban settings, but all of them are now in these types of bigger units. They are not single family homes. Everyone is going in that direction. For the efficiency, I haven't heard of literature that supports, or research that supports, that it turns them into a ghetto. And some of the projects that we've been at, those housing units are very, very nice. They've developed into real communities in some of them. They have central meeting areas. They're able to put resources in for those families. And because it's right in a central area, the clients access it, and it's a real benefit to them. They've got people there that can help them. The people don't have to travel to get help. So what I've seen has been really impressive with some of those bigger units.
Councilor Janelle?
I would just like to bring everybody back to the motion that we're dealing with. This is the next agenda item.
Okay, you're right, and point taken. So the motion is receive for information regarding the grant in lieu. But only one other piece of information that I have is on this before we leave it, is I asked the treasurer to do a calculation as to how much $100,000 adds to our, how much $100,000 of expenses adds to a person's tax bill. Is that right? Okay, so $100,000 worth of expenses is equivalent to about $32 of your tax bill for each $100,000 assessment. So if you have a $200,000 house, you are paying $64 for this community housing, extra. So that's one way to, every time we spend $100,000, you just put $30 on the $100,000 assessment. So in my case, I think my house was $250,000 assessed value, so I would be paying $75 for this. So. Anyhow, you can mentally calculate every time you spend $100,000, and this is $100,000. Okay, we have a motion. All in favor? Okay.
Hey, Richard.
I'd like to make another motion that administration sets up a meeting with the minister to meet with our council to discuss options for grants in lieu for of those social housing, and that's when we could have a discussion with her on if there's no other options available, we need to start pushing the government or they're not gonna do anything. It's a simple fact. They got a lot on their plates, they're not even looking at our stuff.
True. Regarding this meeting, is it beneficial to include our MLA as part of this?
I thought it was mine.
The MLA is the Minister of Municipal Affairs, so.
Right,
that's
okay,
who
I
we're
thought you
making
meant
it.
Sarah Hoffman.
No, this is the Minister of Seniors.
Okay,
Yep.
It's community housing we're gonna be dealing with, and
Yeah,
community
I-
housing is under municipal affairs.
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you make that motion, don't, leave out social housing and say community housing. Okay, so the motion is to direct administration to
Set up a meeting.
set up a meeting with the Minister of Municipal Affairs to discuss community housing.
Grant in lieu of community housing.
Okay. All in favor? I'll give you a few minutes to make that, finish that motion. Although, have you got it down?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Okay. Between the two of you, you can get the wording. Okay, the next item is the linear property taxation. All right.
Just before council makes a motion here, the mileage should be doubled on
Yes,
this.
one way. I'd like to come home.
It was one way. Nancy was sending you one way.
Yeah, one-way ticket's dead. Think she trying to tell me something?
Oh, yeah. Nancy.
Brian, you?
Yeah.
I saved you.
All right, so do you understand what this is? We'll need a motion first.
I would make a motion that, and I don't know if we want more members there, that's why I'm just saying, we're just limiting it to one. But I would just say that council members that wish to attend the symposium on linear property taxation being held in Leduc on January 27th, 2016, be allowed to go.
You may want to withdraw that because we need quorum on the 26th. And this meeting starts at 8:30 in the morning.
That's what you.
That was I was just gonna say, what time does this start? Cause we have a meeting on the 26th till 9 o'clock.
8:30 in the morning.
Well, now.
This meeting was brought to you by the Northern Alberta elected officials, which the mayor or the deputy mayor sits on. That's why the recommendation was to send Mayor Cox.
Yeah.
The NAEL, I believe, is what the.
Yeah.
But it is open for other
Yes.
members.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not
Yeah.
limited
Yeah.
to the leaders that way, or the mayors. So that's why I thought somebody else may want to attend. I did not think about the 26th issue. But if somebody does want to drive, they could.
Then
So
we
I'll
would-
leave my motion there. They
We
can
wouldn't
drive
have
if they
quorum for
want.
your meeting then.
Well, no, they can still be here and drive. You can get done
Oh,
at
yes, that's
11
right.
and drive
Yeah,
down.
yeah, okay, okay.
Absolutely.
Good point.
The last time I did that, I slept in my truck. And it snowed.
Okay, well, I will attend, so if anyone else is going to attend, please let me know, because, or let Brian know, because he'll have to cancel the council meeting. Because we won't have quorum.
Correct.
Oh, right. Right.
Okay, so, all in favor? And I will represent as well, because we certainly want to maintain our good relations with our linear assessment people.
Well, and that's what does our council think on this? And I think we should have that discussion of what do we want to bring forward and say, do we want to see I mean, we haven't had that discussion as a council.
You just voted on it.
Well, I know, but I agree with that, but we should discuss what our
Okay.
council's policy is gonna be on this, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I think we are, but we
Okay,
may not be.
so I would have been going down to support the fact that the municipalities, each municipality that has linear assessment should be responsible for how they want to spend that linear assessment. And I would be encouraging, urban municipalities that are contained within rural municipalities to partner with those rural municipalities in order to share the linear assessment within those municipalities.
Yes.
And that is what I see a lot of the counties and the MDs of various places doing, is partnering up. There are some that are still refusing, but the pressure is building on those to get on board and get some relations going with your neighbors. So,
I agree with that stance, because I think the big push for this, and to my understanding, is coming from the cities. The cities want to get their chunk of that linear assessment, and if it goes there, we're never, as smaller, rural city, we'll never see it. They'll just swallow that money up like nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm totally in favor of that view. I don't know.
okay, so that's basically what the presentation or the stance that I'm taking.
Good.
All right then, we're all on the same page. So, next one, our river business plan. Motion?
I'll make the motion that council receives the Heart River Housing 2016-2020 business plan for information.
Oh, no letter of support?
Oh, the council's, okay, I will change mine, yes, that we give a letter of support to the, yeah, you're right, I do support it.
Boy, I would have been hearing that from Lindsay.
Yes, yeah.
So you're not receiving it for information?
No,
Or you want to receive it for information and send a letter of support?
Well, I will just go with the second option there, I'm just, yeah. Sending the letter of support. So,
Okay, any questions regarding the business plan? They're looking at a 2% increase, I see, in their assessment or their requisition. How much will 2% be? Any ideas? Right now, their requisition
We
is
have the amount there, I believe.
44,000.
Most of the agent, Heart River Housing, the assessment currently is $44,000 for the town. So 2% of that is
$1,000?
$1,000.
Less than 1,000.
800? Yeah, okay. See, that was pretty good. They held the line on that one.
And that goes directly to the private, our
Yes. Okay, any other questions?
It is a very aggressive plan, as I talked to Lindsay about it. He said it is very aggressive. So
In what sense?
that they're looking at all these various communities to do these projects in,
Oh,
to get the funding, and he said it's a very, very good plan.
can they do it?
no.
Can they do it?
Not all of them, but there's several plans, like we've had for quite a while. The project in Fox Creek has been on the books, and we've got it, I'm gonna say it's basically a shovel-ready project if we can get the funding. So that one is there. It's one of the projects. And what they're wanting to do is, if other projects become available, they want to have them shovel-ready too.
Ready to go.
And that includes, expansions to our Pleasant View Lodge, and it includes the other expansions in Falaire and stuff like that. So they're putting them all out there. We want to get some architects to draft them up, what it would look like, what the costs are going to be. so that they are close to shovel-ready also. And that's why they're in here saying, okay, we wanna do these, if we get the money, off we go. And that's really the thinking behind this, is to have those shovel-ready projects, if there's money there, we got something to go ahead with. So it is very great, it's a wish list of what we'd love to see happen.
Yep.
Just one quick question is, with some of these projects we're talking about community housing, dealing with what we're talking about payment in lieu of taxes. If we're adding more units onto community housing within the community, is there an acceptance there to take on more housing that they're not gonna receive any tax revenue on? You know, is this the route to go, or is it maybe subsidized rent? Or you still rent? I just probably have
Yeah.
council's consideration.
Valid question.
Yeah, that is absolutely the, I guess the key question for council to decide on. And right now, like, most of the communities around that table were fine with seniors housing and doing some subsidies on that. And for us, I know, you know, it's a lot more on the social housing than many of the other, all of the other communities. Nobody has, except McLennan, for the population to tax base is very high there, so they're also looking at saying, we can't afford it.
That's there, because they've already got a problem with high mill rate.
They
Oh,
do,
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
20.
they're in the same position as us, a high mill rate, small population base, and a lot of social housing, so it's us and them that are really saying, something's gotta change for us. The other ones, it's not a big deal. The counties don't really care, like the county of, Big Lakes, they got, you know, 10 units spread around, they're not even worried about it.
A couple in Foss.
Couple in Foss, and so for them, it's no issue. But it's really the two communities that are most affected is us and McLennan and Heart River Housing.
Well, if they were to build this like Fox Creek Affordable Housing, would they own that? Or would they go with the model that the province owns it?
It depends on how the province would fund it. And I think we could push for that to say it should be owned by Heart River Housing. So like our lodge here, is our lodge here? Yeah, our lodge here is owned by Heart River Housing. But the lodge in Fulair is owned by the government. But we treat all of, from Heart River Housing perspective, it's treated the same, and the government does give grants to our lodge also.
If we didn't get that grant in lieu from the government for Heart River, for Pleasant View, would we be able to tax Pleasant View? Or does their, is there something in the act?
What do you tax the government?
No, it's, Pleasant View Lodge is owned by Heart River Housing.
It's owned by the foundation.
It's owned
But I
by
don't
the
know if there's
foundation.
legislation in place that says we're not allowed to tax
But,
foundations.
and even still, if you were to look at taxing seniors lodge, that's, in my opinion, that's wrong at the stage
Well,
of the game, because we're downloading it right
It
off
would
the backs of
just
the
come
seniors.
back to us,
It sure would.
because, no, it would come back to us because they would have to raise the requisition. So it would be a in and out.
Well,
Yeah.
not really though,
Well,
because our portion
yeah.
of the requisitions
Would be.
is so small because it
Compared
gets
to-
it's all based on, your assessment value of your community, so it is the counties that carry the burden of the taxes,
Now,
the assessments.
now with the Fox Creek at 9.2 million, do they have to, is that price gonna go up with the change in the architectural plans to make it earthquake proof? Just a thought. Sorry, Fox Creek.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, well, it looks good. They did a lot of work on this, which is great,
Yeah.
so. And we have a motion to send a letter of support to, now, the letter of support, what is he looking for exactly? Just a,
Town Hyper supports their business plan.
that's it? That's basically what you're looking for?
I think they're looking for each of the partners there to say, yes, we would support this, so that if the project for High Prairie was to come to fruition, that we would support it, right?
What page is the High Prairie ones on?
What page is that now?
156. 10-year plan timeline.
Each town basically has one if we back up.
Yeah, 156, 10-year plan detailed. High Prairie. Build a 16 unit, sell the 15. That's it. Then we have two.
The senior housing top floors. For 2018.
What else you've got for? Down High Prairie 151.
Yeah, there is another.
In BC, they have a standardized set of
Oh, yeah,
low
it's
rental housing.
151. So,
In BC, they have sort of a standardized set of low rental housing units. And you go from one town to the next, and they're all almost gated communities, and they have people with disabilities, handicapped accessibility units. They have 2-story units, but they're all in row houses and in a nice complex with a park and basketball nets and everything there for the families. And have they looked at something like that versus a row house or an apartment?
The one that you, I think there's a picture of the one for Fox Creek, yeah. Now, that one in Fox Creek is, the intent of that is to have some commercial space on the bottom floor that's rented out. And then the top floor would be more of the apartment things, and that would be, because they have such a shortage in Fox Creek, and in Fox Creek, it isn't as much of a social, although there is some, but the rent there is, or was, so very high. So they didn't look at it for there, but they would look at it for other ones, and building in those recreation things and the meeting spaces, and because with those bigger complexes, that's what seems to make them a good success in those other communities, is having joint things where they get out and mix and mingle and get involved with others and talk to their
Because
neighbors.
definitely it's gonna be an apartment building.
Of some size or shape, yeah, where it's not gonna be individual houses.
In talking with Lindsay, he said that the maintenance on the 15 units that they have, the houses, is so high here, where if they were in an apartment building like that, they would have one water meter instead of 15, one furnace instead of 15 individual furnaces. You know, he said they were looking at that aspect of it, like,
Yeah, that's,
keep them all in one spot so that you send their maintenance people there, they're only gonna cut one lawn instead of going around and doing 15 lawns, you know.
Okay, so the letter of support is basically the two projects, 2016 and 2016.
In 2018.
They're both 2016.
Because page 158.
Only lists the two, but on page 152, you've got the year 2019.
Okay.
And that's quite a ways in the future. So the only thing that I would be concerned is, build a 16-unit family housing apartment or row housing, as long as Heart River was the one that held the title to it.
well, and you know, the other thing is, if it was one property that we had to pay taxes, you know, or at least absorb the taxes on, as opposed to 55 of them, you know, that's not so bad, right? Like, I think everybody would agree that, you know, tax on one bigger property might be, you know, even $10,000 as opposed to $100,000 makes it a lot easier of a pill to swallow. But, and I'm not sure who would end up owning it. I know Heart River Housing, as a group, has no issues with them being the owners, But again, the government, if they're giving the money, they may want to be the owners of it. Because, you know, they just might wanna have their name on it, and if we had to absorb one tax thing and they got rid of the other 55, I think that would be all right from our town's perspective. Well, at least I think it's all right, but I agree with you. We want Heart River Housing to own it, and that would be the push.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a letter, motion for letter of support. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. So, next item, what page?
166.
166. Stakeholders meeting invitation. Could I get a motion?
If I can just let
Yeah.
Councillor Rose attended the first meeting of this, and then subsequently they had a follow-up. They requesting another meeting now, so
So have they had it one in between, or is this just the second one?
this is gonna be the second one. So.
Okay, and this first
But
one
she
was
was approved
attended
to
by.
go to the first
yeah.
one, yeah, but,
Is she gonna be here?
I believe so.
She wasn't sure, so she said put an alternate just in case.
Oh, okay. Motion,
Well, I'll make the motion.
okay,
That council approved the attendance, Councillor Rose or an alternate to attend the High Prairie Native Friendship Center's follow-up stakeholders meeting being held January 18th, 2016. What time?
I don't know.
It says starts at 9:30, but
9:30. Any discussion? Councillor Janaka?
Nope.
Councillor Panasic?
is there anybody as an alternate that can go?
What is it, the 18th? Doesn't
Yeah,
sound
what
like
day is
anybody
that?
else would
That's
jump in.
next Monday.
19th, huh?
It's the Monday coming up, right?
18th, yeah.
That's full day.
I won't be able to.
No, I would pass.
Darn.
Well, I gotta spend some time actually working. I got a board meeting that week.
We'll
so
leave
I
her
gotta-
to attend, we'll let her know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if
And
nobody-
I'm not
she
able
can't
to
make it,
attend
yeah.
either,
Nobody else from council can make it, so.
Okay.
It would be good is to let them know if we're not, if Debbie's not,
Yeah,
to say
I
we're
was
just not able to attend,
Right,
to
yeah.
let them know.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Next item is the Stars Lottery launch. Motion? Councillor Janaka?
The council received the invitation to attend the 23rd annual Stars Lottery launch on January 14th, 2016 for information.
Comments? Questions? All in favor? Carried. Next item is the reports. First item is mayor's report. You have my report in front of you, and if there are any questions, otherwise I move my report for information. Are there any questions on it? All in favor? That's carried. Next item is Councillor Danakis' report. It's also in front of you. And if you have any questions, how did the meet and greet go for your two new
Good.
board members?
Good.
Have you had a meeting after that?
Just a short little one. We had a meeting after.
Have you had a regular meeting since then?
No.
Okay. Okay, well, that sounds actually pretty good. You're full up on your board then? Everybody's
Yep. Yep.
to capacity. The library did come to the intermunicipal meeting and discussed the fact that they received some extra funding from government. And who is in charge of library? Municipal affairs? I think it is municipal affairs. They received some extra funding. The town's portion is sent directly to the library. The county's portion was sent to the county, and the library wanted to know if they were gonna get that county's portion, and the county said no. So,
A whopping $300.
it was a big discussion. The county has how many libraries they have to look after, 4 or 5? They,
I thought just the one in Canusa they were saying.
I think they had some other
Oh,
ones.
yeah, I think they did too.
Yeah, but anyways,
Swan Hills is a library.
Yeah.
they would've got their own though, cause
They
it
would get
would've
their
gone to
own,
the
yeah.
town.
Okay.
Anyways, so that's good that, that it went well. And, the library conference, their Jasper conference, you got people going to that?
They were discussing that, just sort of more, after the meeting, it was more, kind of like the roles and responsibilities of a trustee, and it was, that was gone through, and then they discussed the upcoming library conferences and what that entails, you know, what sessions, you take sessions and that kind of stuff. Apparently, I believe Tracy said at the Jasper conference this year, Peace Country Library Systems is the, host, I think, or whatever, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So for sure your members, a lot of your members should be going.
Yes, I think a lot of them will be going.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the library report? You move your report for information?
I move my report for information.
All in favor? Okay, and the next report is Councillor Long.
Nothing this meeting, but as we get into the watershed meetings coming up here, and then we'll have our meeting coming up as well, so next one I'll have.
Okay, Councillor Panasic.
I don't have a written report, but I will give you a quick verbal report. Since the last meeting there was 2 meetings I attended. One was the airport committee and one was Heart River Housing. Heart River Housing, I think you got the gist of everything that's come out of that, because a lot of it was discussions about the business plan and approve the budgets, and so that was that one. Airport committee, and we actually talked a little bit about it at the intermunicipal also, is there's the discussion on the ownership of that came up again at the airport meeting. It came up again at the intermunicipal that just happened. So just as a quick heads up, the county would still like to own that property to just, and the rationale is that if they're gonna be putting money into it in capital, they need to be able to justify it to their ratepayers. And there's, we found out, I didn't know anything at the initial meeting, but at the intermunicipal yesterday, there was a lot of talk about going after grants to extend the runway and possibly widen the road going into the airport. And those are multi-million-dollar, like $2 to $4 million worth, and they were saying that the county was indicating that you know, if they don't want to put in all of their shares, if we're not going to be contributing equally to that, or that they have ownership, and I think that's summarizes it. And so that's sort of where they're coming from.
And we did bring up the question of whether we can even legally sell it to a community, to a municipality without advertising it for sale. But they didn't seem to think that that was a problem.
Yeah, they didn't think that was an issue.
They still wanna buy it for $1,
Yeah.
They still
then they
were
can,
doing that.
I will say no.
Really, what difference does it make though?
They have to be aware that the province is in a downturn right now, and they have to be fiscally responsible as well as we do. Because they're sitting on piles of money, does not arbitrary, just give them the right to say, we're gonna build this and you guys have to suck it up. We cannot afford it, so they'll just have to wait. And when times get better and then when we're in a better spot financially, then maybe we can contribute more to the expansion of the airport. But if they thought it was a good idea last year and they justified it to their base then, what changed? What changed from last year to this year that now they have to in fact own it for $1, thank you very much, and have it justified? If they can't buy it for $1, then they can't justify it to their ratepayers. But they could justify it last year for doing it. They thought it was a good deal last year to set this up and get it in place, but now that they have it in place, they want all of the marbles. And, you know, it's
Okay,
like, it's like the rec board.
It's
We
coming
can't
back.
afford it.
It's coming back to council. They're writing a letter, are they?
Yes,
They're writing a
was-
letter.
yeah.
So,
They've been offering us for $1 again?
no, just requesting, transfer ownership, so.
For $1.
For $1,
probably,
no.
But anyways, we can discuss it then,
Gosh,
so. It's, there's options.
it's silly comments and positions like that, and silly starting points like that create ill will, and that's just not necessary.
Truly, statesman-like ending to this conversation.
Anyways, you
Okay.
brought it up.
I've just given you
You
the
brought it
update.
up.
No, it is there.
I'm riled now.
I mean, and there are some points to be argued on there, but we don't need to get into it at this point.
Justify
Okay.
selling it to the taxpayers of High Prairie for $1. We can't afford their multi-million-dollar runway, so we're gonna sell it to them for $1.
Okay. Any other questions of
Sorry.
Councillor Panasic?
None.
None?
I
You
move
brought
my
it up.
report for information.
All in favor? And the last report tabled is Councillor Rose's. And if there's any questions on it, you will have to speak with her. But I will move Councillor Rose's report for information. All in favor?
Oh, I just have one question
Yes?
off of her report here. The board's in breach of their bylaws. They've requested the town appoint Debbie, as they did mayor, to the board for the remainder of the term. So they are compliant with their bylaws.
Yes, there was a discussion there regarding the appointment terms. And the bylaws of the society, the Recreation Board Society, do state that when a board member resigns, that the next appointment should be, and I believe, I have to actually take a look at the exact wording, but it was up, the next appointment shall go until the next organizational meeting of that municipality. That's their bylaws. So, the appointment of Councillor Rose to February 9th was what we could do, but by doing that, we are putting our representative in breach of the bylaws. Councillor Rose has subsequently been nominated as chair of the Recreation Board. So there's another rub there. But, you know, that's what that was about. Councillor Long?
So, the way I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but federal, provincial, municipal boards down here somewhere. So when does the rec board, which is an anomaly, when have their bylaws since superseded ours and their procedures, and they don't? They can have it, but it doesn't supersede the towns, ever. Ever.
Probably, they are a society, and those are registered bylaws of the society,
But we,
are the society.
and we appoint who sits on that board.
So.
It's a wonderful thing we got going on there. And the sooner it's gone, the better.
Are you sure that you don't want to sit on that board?
I'm sure they wouldn't want me on that board.
You never know.
Um,
Anyhow,
yeah.
we had the election February the 1st. And at that point, I guess we will worry about the new appointments after. Councillor Rose isn't here to make the case that we should change it at this time, so we will leave it.
Just saying,
Yes.
it's law.
All right, so all in favor of accepting for information is carried, and we adjourn at 10 o'clock.